Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's X39 Doctor's Presentation Zoom. And my name is Danny McDaniel, and I'm your host for this evening. And the person who invited you on this Zoom, the reason why they invited you on the Zoom is they want you to be able to hear more about the power of the X39 patch and hear it from, health professionals, people from the medical world, people that, have done a whole lot of research and have spent many years studying the human body, the human anatomy, and how to help people become well in every phase of their life. And we've got three really incredible people on here tonight to share with you that I can't wait to introduce to you. But first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story so that you get a little bit of knowledge about what the LifeWave X39 patch can do. My journey with LifeWave, started 2 years ago. My wife and I got on the X39 patch just to get on the products. We weren't marketing the patch. We weren't interested in marketing the patch. We just wanted results. And here's why. I had a frozen shoulder, and this shoulder, which was my dominant arm, was completely locked up. I couldn't even open a car door, could barely turn on a light switch, had severe discomfort, was losing sleep every night because of any kind of movement. And I got a phone call from a friend asking me if I knew about the patch. Said no. Heard 3 stories. After 3 stories, he didn't realize how desperate I was. And I said, "Hey, Andy, I need this patch. Get me these patches. How can I get a hold of these patches? Because here's my situation." And I ordered the patches in the first week of December 2 years ago. Got on the X39 patch, and within 6 days, my shoulder started unlocking, started loosening. I could move it, and discomfort started leaving. Over the next 5.5 months, my shoulder was completely healed. Now, this patch did not cure me. This patch did not heal me. This patch that we're talking about tonight, this phototherapy patch that you're going to learn more about, it just did what it was supposed to do to help my body, heal itself. And so just to give you a little bit more insight, I'm going to pull up a screen real quick before I introduce our first doctor and show you the extra results that I got. Now, keep in mind, I wasn't getting on any Zooms. I wasn't watching any kind of presentations. I wasn't studying the company or the patch. I just wanted my own results. And I was seeing miracles happen with my own body. I didn't realize that after 4 or 5 months that my 2 trips a night to the restroom were going to be over with, and I didn't have to get up and go to the restroom at night anymore. I didn't know at the 8th month mark that I wouldn't need my glasses to drive anymore, but that happened. And so my nearsightedness, became 20/20 vision again, and my hair started turning brown again. In fact, this picture that you see on the right, the picture on the left was just 6 months ago. And the picture on the right was in New York City at the first, it's just right at a month ago in New York City. So that's how much my hair has changed just in the last 6 months. I didn't realize that I was going to have a lot less wrinkles. At 59 years old, I would quit snoring, which every woman loves that when their husband quits snoring. And I didn't realize that a year ago in December that I wouldn't need my reading glasses anymore. And so that was a game changer. No more floaters in my eyes. And at the 22-month mark, I had a really big brown mole that had been growing for the last several years, just almost literally fall off. I grabbed it and it just came right off of my body. And I looked at it and went, praise God, that thing's gone, because I wanted that gone. And that was just a result of 22 months on the patch. And so that's my story. Now, tonight, you're going to hear, from 3 doctors about the X39 patch. And we're going to start off. I want to introduce to you our special guest for the night, which are all 3 special, but our special guest who's going to present the X39 to you. Her name is Dr. Jen O'Sullivan. So Dr. Jen is unmuting, and she's about ready to go. But let me tell you, hey, Dr. Jen, I'm glad you're here. I want to tell you, Dr. Jen is a doctor of naturopathy. She's really amazing. We've gotten to become good friends. I got to know Jen really well when Diane and I, my wife and I, had dinner with her at a leadership event just here a while back, and got to spend hours and hours talking about so many different things. And this lady she impressed my socks off in every phase of life. And she's the author of over 60 books. She has 10 that were bestsellers. She knows what she's doing in regards to the human body. She's also an elite senior presidential director in this company, which is the highest level or the highest income rank in this company as well. So Dr. Jen O'Sullivan is a wellness expert. And so Dr. Jen is going to take over right here. She knows exactly what to do. So she's going to tell you guys all about her story and the X39 patch. Dr. Jen, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Danny. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you all for having me. I am, like you said, a doctor of naturopathy. Everybody pronounces it different. I feel like the East Coast people pronounce it a little different than we do here. But I'm also an herbalist and all sorts of things. So what I've done is just studied health and wellness, and infrared therapy, red light therapy is one of my modalities. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, we have these patches." And I didn't know, I was like, that sounds ridiculous. Like, you don't have to plug it in. And I basically said, just fine, send me some, because I trusted her, right? I said, I'll buy I'll buy a sleeve. So I bought the sleeve, got it here, wore it for half a day on Friday, Saturday all day. By Sunday, I had zero inflammation. It was the craziest thing ever because I've been that person that wakes up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom hunched over like a 90-year-old because my body is like atrophied in the sleeping position on the side. And I just was so overwhelmed by it. So I started telling people and just decided, I'm going to keep moving forward, keep learning about it. And as an educator, I need to know all the things. So I'm kind of one of the weird people that has read all the studies and has been able to pull all the information out for you guys so that you're not getting incorrect information, but you're getting correct information. So I'm going to share with you tonight, if you'll let me, just a few minutes of the of a presentation that I do. We do these 3 times a week. And so what I'm just going to do here is share my screen, and we are going to just dive right in if you're okay with just giving me a couple minutes of your time. So we're going to talk about the X39 patch because this is the change all. This is the thing that has helped my inflammation. It helped my vision as well. I have an astigmatism. I had an astigmatism. You can't cure an astigmatism, right? There's no known thing for that to reverse. My astigmatism is completely reversed. So I have no more football shaped eyes. That's huge because I'm a mountain biker and a snowboarder, and we're downhillers. So all that vibration causes some sight problems. But it's wild. Same with Danny. Like, I can see in the car now. I don't have to wear glasses at a movie. I don't have to wear them watching TV. Like, all the crazy things, that is so amazing. But to see my skin clear up, my skin look better and less wrinkly, to have my hair grow back after the crazy stuff that happened a few years ago, to see things that just happen, right, to all of my clients. And what happened was, as I got all my clients on these, it became this issue of, I realized this was such a game changer that I had to decide whether or not to keep clients that didn't want to go on this. And I decided not to. So I had to fire a few clients. We have a massive, huge concierge program anyways, but I had to fire a few people to say, I'm sorry, if you're not willing to do this, because this is such a game changer, everyone who comes to see me must be on these patches. So just a quick disclaimer, I know they already showed this one, but I am a brand partner with LifeWave, and we aren't trying to diagnose or treat anything, but the aging process, how crazy it is. We're going to breeze through some of these slides so you can take screen grabs of them, but just know that, like, we decline rapidly. We have these healing cells in our body. At the age of 20, we have over 1 billion of these healing cells that helps you regenerate all the time, right? And so when we age, by 30, it's 60. Now, I turned 51 this month. So most 50-year-olds are at 75% decline. They're operating on 25% of their healing cells. And if you're at your 60s, you have hardly any left, right? If you're in your 80s, forget about it. You have 2 of these cells left. But I want you to know, part of the thing with this is to help you understand why this works so well. So this product is actually going to help, it's actually clinically proven to produce younger, healthier cells. And this is something to understand that is unlike anything else on the planet. Nobody has this product, and nobody will have this product. We have to understand that this is an FDA recognized and compliant general wellness product. It's non-transdermal and non-invasive. That means it's not actually going into your skin. Like if you wear a nicotine patch, you've got, there's other patches out there that say, oh, we give you guys like this GHKCU patch, and it's nothing, you guys. It's literally a transdermal patch that is putting a supplement into your body. I want you to understand something about that. That doesn't work because your body doesn't recognize it. What your body recognizes is your own human peptides. So that's what this is creating. And that's what's so, like, monstrously amazing about this. And so this thing internally is amino acids and salts. The sugar, when you hear someone say it's made out of sugar, that's the brown patches for a different patch, so don't worry about those. But all of that nanocrystal technology is embedded on a fabric disc. And so we'll get into how that works in just a minute, but this is patented technology. And I need you to hear this. This is so important. LifeWave has actually achieved something that no one else on the planet has been able to achieve in the field of regenerative science and medicine. So much so that we're kind of being watched all the time. Okay, so just know that. It's insane how amazing these things work. So what is red light therapy? How does it work? We have to remember that these patches, instead of going to say, infrared therapy or red light therapy session, you actually wear these on your person for 12 hours during the day. So I get to walk around. I have 5 patches on right now, and I get to walk around, and they're different things, but I've got my X39 on the back of my neck. I get to walk around with these 5, my phototherapy happening for the 12 hours during the day. And then I have some at night, right? I've got my little Alavita night patches here. So, just different things at night. We don't even have that many products, but we focus on X39. Why? Because this is the game changer. The other ones are not game changers. This is the game changer. So this is something to understand, that this is working with continuous low light infrared therapy, kind of like how when the sun hits your skin and then it signals your body to produce vitamin D. Now we know that the vitamin D from a supplement is not as bioavailable, meaning your body can't readily use it as easily as it can if it made its own vitamin D. So this is the same thing here. This is actually combining amino acids and copper into a workable, usable peptide that will create younger, healthier cells. And so it just works with infrared light. And that's just how it works. So, infrared light is a real thing. We are made out of infrared light. So it's really cool. So these are just some of the benefits. Just know that this is going to do a lot for you, and each person is different. So we don't actually know what's exactly going to happen to you, but we do know in the beginning, these younger, healthier cells begin to proliferate and increase and grow rapidly. So you start feeling better. You start feeling almost like, wow, I got my energy back. And then you get this weird brain clarity that kind of comes over you. You start getting this strength and stamina that's wild, like, oh, I could kind of feel like I could jog again, that kind of thing. But then if you continue to use this, and a lot of people will say you should use this for, anywhere from maybe 1 month per decade of life. I don't really like saying that, because somebody that's in their 40s, usually they'll err on the low side and be like, I only need it for 4 months. That's an incorrect. I've been on this for 2 years, and literally I'm not going to go off of this. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. If you really understand how this works, you'd want to stay on it. Okay, but understand this, that you really should be giving it a good try of 6 to 12 months. Every human on the planet should be giving this a 6 to 12 month try. If you have a lot of chronic issues, a lot of things going on, you probably are going to be at that 12-month mark. So just be aware of that. It's real important to know. You're just going to wear it behind your neck or below your navel. You're going to apply it to clean, dry skin in the morning. You're going to wear it for up to 12 hours before you discard it. You're going to repeat the next day with a brand new patch. I want you to do something for me, though. That's drinking plenty of clean, pure water. The reason for that is because our cells need to be able to communicate, and they can't communicate without being properly hydrated. So the proper hydration rate, and this is so important that you guys hear me, because it's not half your body weight in ounces like everybody says. It's 4 to 5 ounces per half an hour. So every 30 minutes, you need to be drinking some water. So it's been about 15 minutes now. I'll take a sip of water. I could take 2 sips of water every 15 minutes. I could take 3 sips of water every 20. So just try and figure out what 4 to 5 ounces is. But every 30 minutes, if you go beyond 30 minutes, your body starts to dehydrate. And that is just the way it goes, because if you drink 16 hours thinking that's going to last you for an hour, it's not. Only 4 to 5 ounces absorbs, and the rest you urinate out, and then you're dehydrated. So every 30 minutes, you got to get at least 4 to 5 ounces in. And then we want to really consider potassium, magnesium, things like that. These are important elements electrolytes so that you don't get headaches, you don't get blood pressure issues. These are things that people are so unhealthy. When phototherapy starts to happen and the little mitochondria start to activate, we really do need to understand that hydration and electrolytes are the key to mitigating any issue. So I'm not going to go over all this, but just know that the patches are going to go to work where needed most. And I want you guys to just push through. Know that if you're tired, it's working. But if you're tired past a week, you're actually electrolyte imbalance. So we've got some packages that you can buy in at. Remember I said I purchased one sleeve? Literally that Sunday when I woke up with no inflammation, I upgraded to the top of the line pack because I wanted it all. I wanted to have the best deal, and I knew I was going to pass some of these out to my friends. So it's up to you how you want to come in, especially as a practitioner. There's ways of kind of helping your people get through this. So I just want to ask you, have you been patched? Are you new on here tonight and this is something that you've never even heard of? I'm going to encourage you to please contact the person who shared this with you, who said, come on, join our huge Zoom call tonight and see what this is all about. I absolutely adore this company. Like I said, I've only been here with this company for 2 years, but it's changed my family's life. We have someone with autism in the home that it absolutely has changed his life. My son is an athlete, so he's constantly spraining and straining things, and he's 17. So I can put one X39 on him and he heals in 3 days because it just mobilizes all of his healing cells. So it's crazy to see how all of this works. And I work with a lot of people on the spectrum with autoimmune, with menopause, hormones, all the things, because it just works for everybody. So that's it. So I just wanted to say thank you for letting me be on here for a little bit of time. And Danny, I will push it back to you.
Well, great. And thanks for all of that input. And I do want to ask you one question. You can give a real quick answer on it. And you did kind of touch on some of this stuff, but I want to hone in on this because David Schmidt, our founder, who's the inventor, he often talks about the fact that this is clinically proven that if the 97% of the people that wear this patch for 90 days see noticeable results, which that doesn't mean the other 3% aren't getting results. It just means they don't see noticeable results, and it may take longer for them. Speak to that for a moment about 90 days, because some people well, let me just say this to Dr. Jim, because we don't work together every day, but we see even, this is not clinical, what I'm saying now, this is only just observationally, but we see about 70% of the people that get on the patch really have an extremely positive wow effect, anywhere from 10 minutes to 5 days. And then about 30% of the rest of the general public may not feel anything for 30 days or 2 months, or even that almost up to that 90-day period. Speak to that for a second as a doctor and what you've seen, and encourage these guys.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue that we've seen is I believe it's 100% that it works on 100% of people. It's the 3 to 4% that it doesn't work on are the people that don't have the right ingredients. So you need 3 amino acids in your body for this to work. You need glycine, histidine, and lysine. Most of us have it, but some people who are vegan may not have all of those amino acids. And then also, some of you are copper deficient. My husband was copper deficient because he eats no copper containing foods. Like if you just look up on Google, what's a copper containing food? He does. So we wear like copper jewelry now. I'm trying to get, like, he's taking some supplements, some nano copper, just to kind of like help. But so many women, at least in my line of work, because I dealt with a lot of people with menopause even before this, are copper adverse. Like they just stay away from copper because rogue copper causes so many issues. Well, this is actually taking the ingredients in your body and mobilizing it into this beautiful copper peptide that is actually what's creating younger, healthier cells. If you don't have copper, you're not going to have any results. Like that's actually a real thing. So, some people say they must be having results, we just don't see them. No, I actually work with people on 3 elements. 1, we got to see if you have the right ingredients in your body. 2, you have to drink enough water. If you are super dehydrated, this is going to take forever for it to work for you. It will work, but you're going to just constantly be butting up against detoxification. The other thing is you have to really consider that electrolyte factor that we talked about, because again, if you're electrolyte, you can go to the doctor and check your electrolytes, see, where you're at. But those are the things that we can actually get it to 100%. And yeah, if the person is going to do the work and, like it's not hard, it's a sticker, but if they're going to do this, why not pair it with drinking enough water? And I get a lot of people saying, but I don't want to have to pee all day long. Well, let me help you understand something, that once you are consuming 4 to 5 ounces, if you're on the 150 or below side in pounds, you need about 4 ounces of water every half an hour. If you're on the 150 and above, about 5 ounces every half an hour. And what that's going to do is, you're after about 2 or 3 days of getting on that rotation of like put an alarm on your phone, you're actually going to see your body regulate, and you can go for about 5 hours without peeing. Like literally, it's not a problem. So it's something that people don't really understand. But I want you guys to think about that yes, you've got these aha one patch wonders, and then people start comparing each other and well, I didn't have that happen. Here's the thing, it goes to work where it's needed most. You've got to remember this, that it literally is working on whatever is most critical. So if you're like, Dr. Jen, I want my wrinkles to clear up, and you have some heart issue, I think you'd better like it to go to work on your heart issue than your wrinkly skin, right? So some people are like, oh my gosh, my crepey skin cleared up immediately. And others are like, I'm still 2 years in. I've been doing this for, and you got a lot of work going on the inside. So I've heard it say that like, when you start seeing external things, that means your insides are doing better. So like Danny's gray hair kind of healing is because he probably didn't have a lot of critical conditions on the inside. So very interesting.
Yeah, that's right on. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for all your input tonight. So we're going to move on and go to our next doctor. Guys, I want to introduce to you also another friend of mine, Dr. Joseph Duggar from Searcy, Arkansas. Dr. Duggar has a practice called One Life Wellness. He's board certified family practitioner. I believe he's also a board certified anesthesiologist. And he's an amazingly influential doctor in his area. And when I say that, I'm not just promoting him. I'm telling you, he is a highly influential man in his area of Arkansas, and there's a lot of different reasons for it. So, Dr. Joe, tell these guys what this whole process has meant to you. Tell them your story and whatever you want to share tonight.
Thanks, Danny. Yeah, just one thing. I'm not an anesthesiologist, but I am board certified in family practice. So just don't want to mislead anybody there. And I know you didn't intentionally do that.
You bet. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for that correction.
No worries. Yeah, I have not been doing this a long time, and I'm so glad that Dr. Jen was on tonight to give us more of her experience too. I started by just really looking into this for a family member. My sister-in-law asked me to look at this back in July. So my initial goal was to just see, what is this? Is it real or not? A lot of the same initial thoughts that Dr. Jen expressed of, that sounds crazy. I have been a fan of stem cell therapy, adult stem cell therapy, since its inception, or since I first heard about it, which was 20 plus years ago. I've been practicing medicine for around 30 years now, and we have hundreds, thousands of cures and therapeutic benefits with adult stem cells. And so anyway, I've been a fan of that for a long time. So I first started looking at this patch and was curious as to how it worked. I looked at the science behind it, looked at some of the PubMed articles, and looked into the GHKCU peptide, researched David Schmidt and the company LifeWave. Spent a couple of weeks really looking at it, and after the first glance, I just became more interested, more intrigued, and pretty quickly decided that my sister-in-law needed to try this, and that I needed to try it too. And so my family and I started using the patch end of July, and my wife and I have 4 children. They're all this last semester, they were all in college. One is now graduated, but both my boys play college football. So we started having different reasons for using the patch, for different kids. But for all of us, we had goals and we had ideas about what this patch could do for us. I will tell you personally, the results on the anti-inflammatory side were very quick for me with the X39. Inflammation in my joints. I'm 55 years old, fairly active lifestyle. The inflammation essentially resolved. So that was very impressive. And I started seeing results in my patients very quickly. I shared this with a lot of family and friends because I was so excited about it. I've been on this quest to really find what can we do to help people keep moving, throughout their lives, and not just starting on the right foot, but then continuing on and, in their 70s and 80s and 90s still being active. And so I was so excited when we found this and realized that it's very affordable. It's something that you can just order online without a prescription. So we've been seeing just amazing results within our own family and inner circle and friends, but also in patients as well. And I'm most impressed with some of the things that we're seeing in the neurodegenerative diseases fairly quickly in some. One patient who's not actually my patient, but is a family member of one of my patients with Parkinson's, had his tremor clear up in less than a week when he started the X39. And his tremor was pretty severe. He wasn't able to feed himself or to write. And that completely resolved within a week. And then a lot of, just pretty severe arthritis, degenerative joint issues, reversing pretty quickly, improving to the point where people are, and I'm talking about 70-year-old, 80-year-old individuals who were sedentary because they just couldn't move well, that were pretty quickly doing things again, going and getting out of the house, grocery shopping. One lady that I know whose husband is a missionary had gotten to where she really wasn't getting out of the house because of joint pain. And within just a couple of weeks, she was moving like she hadn't in years, and she went on a mission trip with her husband out of the country. So life-changing for so many people. And I think what we're doing right now is just seeing the very beginning of what's going to happen. When you look at what we have available through Western medicine and through alternative and complementary medicine, we're very limited in a lot of ways to especially modalities that can help the body to heal itself. And what we now have with the X39 is just that. It's a very simple therapeutic patch that you can easily obtain and wear. And like Dr. Jen said, we're on it for life. And my kids are, I think they're going to continue to see things that will, make them want to continue with it as well. But we have had, both the boys I mentioned earlier, of our 4 kids, the 2 boys play college sports. So they've seen substantial muscle growth and maintenance through the football season. Both of them play college football. And just, injuries that had hampered my younger son the last 3 years didn't bother him this season at all. Just healing quickly, recovering quickly after exercise. I have a nephew who's a quarterback, and he is a prolific passer and had no issues with his elbow and shoulder this year compared to the last 3 seasons. And the only difference was wearing the patch. So just a lot of things that are amazing and practical. So I think what we'll continue to see through LifeWave and through David Schmidt is just more innovation and more ways to activate stem cells that will continue to promote the healing and the anti-inflammatory benefits that we're already seeing. So very excited about it. I said this last time when I was on a call. I've never seen anything like this in my 30 plus years practicing medicine. And it is the most exciting technology that we have now to promote wellness and and healing in anyone for almost any reason.
Well, I love that you said that, being, a doctor, because I say those things and it doesn't always carry the same weight. When I say, I believe personally that this is the most advanced scientific device on the planet today. And I've actually, even in my lifetime, and I say that because I believe that, but yet I don't say that being a doctor. And you're sitting here practicing medicine for 30 years and you have a wellness clinic and you're saying that same exact thing, and it carries a lot, it means a lot. So we're talking about, a very high impact device, a very high impact product that can literally change your life, guys, if you get on this. Dr. Duggar, thanks for taking time out during your hunting trip. Really appreciate you. And we're going to move on to our next doctor for the night and close this out. So want to move on to another friend of mine from British Columbia, Canada. I want to introduce to you guys tonight Rachel Maurice, MD. She is awesome. She's got a great story to tell you guys and more insights to give you. She's been an anesthesiologist for, I believe, over 20 years, and she's recently been steering more towards I don't know, in the past, whether it's a couple of years or how she can tell you that exact time, but she's been steering more toward holistic health in these latter days here. And so she's going to share that side of her story to you and tell you why she's so passionate about the X39 patch. Rachel, glad to have you.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I apologize sort of for the red background, but it's part of my light hygiene after sunset. So I will start off by saying, yes, I am a Canadian, practiced anesthesia for close to 20 years, just under 20 years in British Columbia in a small town called Kamloops. I actually saw someone else on here that I didn't know that was from Kamloops as well. And I left in 2021, actually, because of my beliefs around medical freedom and personal choices. And so it's been over 3 years that I've not been practicing anesthesia. And I obviously had some time on my hands since I wasn't working. I do have 2 kids who are teenagers, so I still am busy with them. But I started doing a lot of research, a lot of reading about alternative therapies. I had been doing that some years before when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, but obviously now I had more time and I wasn't sure whether I was going to be going back to work. And now it's clear that I'm not, as an anesthesiologist, that is. So I was doing a lot of studies, getting a lot of certifications. And one of the things that I came across was how light impacts our body and is the real driver of our health. And that was something that basically crumbled the entire foundation of what I understood medicine to be. And it really rocked my world. And it was a bit disconcerting for a little bit because it just was not anything that I was taught in the traditional medical education system. But it became very exciting very quickly because there was so much more that could be done. And I understood so much more. And myself personally, I've always been an advocate for preventative health, at least for myself. And I think that was also because of everything that I had seen in the 30 years in medicine. And not to say that everything is bad. Yeah, it's just that when you intervene, there's always a potential for risk and complications. And I know that I had a skewed view seeing all of the complications that would come into the operating room, but that's what I saw. And so with light in mind and understanding how light was the real driver of health from our environment, but also that our body produces light, biophotons, ultraviolet, as well as infrared, and how that impacts the mitochondria, which are our powerhouses. People might know that as the powerhouse of the cell. Really, it is what produces energy. It does a lot more than that. That is very important, but it produces energy, which is how we are alive. So targeting the mitochondria is so very crucial in optimizing our health. And so I was, like Dr. Jen said, I was a real advocate for red light therapy and infrared. And that is when I came across the patches. Actually, someone had mentioned them to me and I dismissed them initially. And it was later on, my mom's health started to fail, and someone else that I knew and trusted reintroduced them to me. And then I met Diane Hunt, who I'm not sure if she's on the call tonight, but she was a cardiac surgical nurse for 20 years. And she started sharing information with me that I knew that came from the same background as myself. And I knew what she experienced and what she saw in the operating room was similar to what I knew. And when she was sharing, for example, tests like echocardiograms, people's heart functions improving, when the blood gets pumped out of the heart, we call that ejection fraction. And people who had really low ones of 15% improving to 40, 50, 60%, I was just in shock, because that's not anything that I had seen in my career or heard of, unless you put an external device or an implantable device in the heart. And so because my mom's problem was heart failure and her doctor was looking at potentially working her up for heart surgery, my mom has a lot of issues, and I knew she would not be a great candidate for how she would recover from surgery. And so learning about this and realizing there was really absolutely no downside to it at all, it was a no-brainer for us to get started. And so we got her on the patches, and I wasn't just going to let her do the patches alone. So obviously I wanted to start, because again, I'm all about preventative measures. And if I don't have to access the system, I really don't ever want to. And so again, having been in the system and caring for patients for as long as I have, I know that healing takes time. So I was not expecting anything to happen quickly. But my mom, because of her heart failure and her trouble breathing, we would go for walks regularly, and we really would walk at a snail's pace. Like, it was so painfully slow for me. And within 2 weeks, she was walking significantly faster. She was able to actually talk to me and walking on an incline. And I was just absolutely amazed by this. Like, I actually had to stop her to get her to take, note of what was actually happening. And so that was that. And then 3 weeks after, she came to my house with some blood work, because she was getting regular blood work looking at markers for her heart failure, but she also had thyroid issues, and she had some numbers that were off, and asked me what was going on. And I said, you go to your own doctor, because you should never be your own family's doctor, treating physician. But I said, I'm pretty sure he's going to lower your thyroid medication. And sure enough, he did. And that's happened a second time. And she just has so much more energy. And so she's so vibrant, to the point where when she visits her friends, one of her friends' husbands had said, what are you doing? Like, you look amazing, and you have this energy and this glow. And she said, oh, well, my daughter started me on these patches. And he just said, get me some. He didn't ask anything whatsoever. He just said, get them for me. I need them. And this gentleman, within 2 months, actually was no longer wearing his reading glasses. And so again, I was so excited, because these patches just fit seamlessly right into everything that I was learning about the body, relearning. I would say I was unlearning a lot and relearning really what health was, because realistically, the system that I was working in is a disease management system. And so when you're a physician, everyone loves to tell you their problems and ask for advice. And so I knew a lot of people who had a lot of problems, and just started sharing, these patches, saying, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm involved with. I just got started, there's really no downside. And I know that these people were not getting much from the traditional system, or they weren't really moving the needle. And I started sharing and seeing miracles, literally miracles all around me. Like this elderly, I'll just say a couple, because I know you want to keep this short, Danny, but this elderly couple down the street from me, the lady's in her 70s and her husband's in his 80s. And he was recently diagnosed with 3 types of cancer, had colon cancer, prostate cancer, and skin cancer. And so they were giving him chemotherapy, and then he had a rash, and then they were putting him on prednisone, which wreaks havoc on the body when you're on it for long term. And then he was having heart troubles. They were looking at a pacemaker. And then he had this nerve pain syndrome called trigeminal neuralgia, which is often nicknamed the suicide disease because that's how painful it is. And the wind would trigger it for him, brushing his teeth would trigger it. And they got started right away because I asked if they were interested in something alternative. And literally within 9 days, that pain syndrome was gone. He had more energy. He was using walking poles. He could barely walk, like a little raise in the concrete when he was walking would kind of get him really angry, his wife would say. And now he's walking. We live on a golf course. He's walking all over the golf course hills, so much energy, so much faster. He's sleeping at night through the night, which he wasn't before. He was getting up 6 times in the night to go to the bathroom. He's now down to 1. He's just his quality of life, and therefore her quality of life, is also much better. And she's now sleeping through the night, which she wasn't before. And I'll just touch on myself. Again, as I said, I'm very proactive about my health, and I didn't really have much for symptoms, except that in 2020, I got sick, and I know that my brain function took a real nosedive, and I was having trouble with memory, with word retrieval, with focus, just even articulating things. And to the point where, honestly, I was embarrassed. I was really concerned because I didn't feel like it was coming back, even though the rest of my body felt okay. And I was doing a lot of other things, for example, trying keto, intermittent fasting, a lot of things that we hear about that helps with cognitive function as well. And it really was after 2 months on the patches that things just became very clear to me. I felt like the fog lifted. I was able to speak a lot faster, articulate my words, and it was a really big deal for me. And another thing was my sleep was very messed up. As one can imagine, 30 years in medicine where we're doing call and not sleeping every 3rd or 4th night. But my sleep was to the point where I wasn't sleeping through the night at all. And I know it kind of coincided with, midlife, because I am 53, but I would hear like a pin drop. And as I said, I got teenagers, and when they come in the house, I would hear every little noise, as I'm sure many people on here who are parents and moms in particular, your brain changes and you're just wired to hear that. And I can't remember the timing, but it was definitely a few months. It took a few months. And I know that I was sleeping much deeper than I ever have before, because I would wake up, say at 2, 3 in the morning in a panic that my kids were not home, or one of them was not home, because I hadn't heard them come in the house, only to run out of my room, get to my phone. And, I'd either text my daughter or phone and say, like, where are you? And she's like, I'm in my room. And that's a really big deal for me not to hear that with my background. So I just wanted to finish up. I mean, I have so many more stories, but this is just the most incredible technology that I have come across. And one of the things that I wanted to say before I finish up was that as much as this is an incredible technology, I am also very much a proponent, and I share with everybody that I share this with, that it's not a replacement for a healthy lifestyle. Because a lot of people ask, well, if I stop using the patches, then what happens? And I'm like, well, it also depends on your lifestyle, what it was before. And if you're not going to eat well, if you're not going to exercise, if you're not going to tend to all the lifestyle things that will optimize your health, then you will start to decline much quicker. But I want to echo what I think it was Duggar had said, that this is, and I say this again with presentations that I give, that I've never seen anything like this in the 30 years that I have been in the traditional medical system. I really have not. It is just a remarkable technology, and I'm super excited to see what comes next and what comes out of David Schmidt, because he's just a brilliant man. And I have to say as well, he's half the reason that I love this company. Like, he's the heart and soul of it. And it's amazing to love the person behind it as well as the product. So thank you.
Well, that sums it up well. As the head goes, so goes the body. So anytime you have a company and you have a leader like that, which we haven't gone a lot of detail into tonight, and we probably won't, but it's worth researching. If you're seeing this message for the first time, you want to know who the inventor is. excuse me, and the founder is, because that's really significant. There's so much we could talk about where we're going and the vision of this company and the technologies that are coming. It flat out blow you away. And it will, if you're willing to just hang in there with us, not tonight, but hang in there with us and see what LifeWave has to offer. Because right now, the X39 patch is the subject, and that's the thing that can absolutely change your life. And so I'm gonna wrap things up. And if I can keep Dr. Jen on here after I'm done, I'm going to go to one more question for her if she'll give it to us. But I want to go over with you just very quickly, a couple of slides, because if you like what you've heard, you want to know, well, how do I get started? Number one, you can be a customer. A month supply of X39 or our patches are called sleeves because they come in a sleeve. They come in a very sleek cardboard sleeve like this blue one. And out of that comes another sleeve. This is the inner sleeve. And you have 30 patches, which is a 30-day supply of the X39. So you can become a customer for $150. Very few people do it that way because they'll choose the preferred customer route because you can get it at a wholesale price, which is $99.95 if you choose to get on a monthly subscription, which you can cancel anytime with a one-click cancellation system. And that's an incredible way to go if you just want to be a customer. But so many people choose the brand partner route because you can get it at a wholesale price and you can share. You get to the point where you can't, even if you're not seeing this as a business, like my wife and I didn't 2 years ago. We signed up as brand partners because just in case we had loved ones that we wanted to share it with. And that was exactly how it worked out. My wife and I, for 8 months, were just sharing the products with a few of our very close friends and very close family members because we got such incredible results. We could not share it with them. And then after 8 months, it got to the point where we could not share it with everybody because we were so convicted, which led us to becoming brand partners. And Dr. Jen showed you this slide earlier, so you can get back with the person who got you on the Zoom and ask them how you can get an enrollment kit if you want to be a brand partner, where you can share these incredible patches with others as well and earn incredible potential part-time income. And we have enrollment kits called Core, which is 3 sleeves for $295. And that's how I started 2 years ago. And that got me a spot in the company, got me a business spot, which paid off hugely in the long run, even when I wasn't working it as a business. But the advanced enrollment kit gives you the equivalent of 6 X39 sleeves for $535. And that opens up the whole marketing plan, meaning that you can earn from LifeWave 6 different ways. You can earn income 5 ways, and incentive trips a 6th way. And that's $535. It brings the price point down of these patches to $89.50 per sleeve, which is a great wholesale benefit. And then there's the premium package, which brings the price point down to $87.50 per sleeve. But on top of that, you get even an extra 2 months of monthly subscription credit, which is anywhere from a $200 to $400 value there as well. And so that the premium package is a great way to go too if you want to get some bulk sleeves and get rolling and get your journey started. So get back with that person who got you on this Zoom, and you can find out more there. But if I got Dr. Jen on here, I'm gonna stop my screen, and I want to ask you a question that I know you already know the answer to, because we've talked about this. So here's the thing. Sometimes, let's just say I call you, Dr. Jen, and say, hey, Dr. Jen, I've got a couple of friends that they love health and nutrition, and they're really great people. And, and actually those friends of mine are in their 50s. One of them may be in her 60s, and I've gotten them on the patches, and they just can't shake the headache, which I know is a rarity. Very few people get headaches, but yet it has happened. So why am I experiencing this? Why do I have like two or three of my customers that are having headaches, and I can't get them to go beyond using the patch? Because they say their head hurts too much, and they just can't, they can't stay on the patch, and they think it's the patch that's causing the problem.
Mm-hmm.
What would help us out?
I mean,
here?
it is technically, but it's their fault. It's user error. So we kind of joke that the patches just do what they do. And if we don't have the proper hydration, you've got all these ATP centers, the mitochondria, right? Like moving around, and they don't really have anywhere to go. And they do, but it's it causes tension, and that can cause a headache. And I remember my first time patching, it was like maybe 3 or 4 days in, I had a huge headache, and I was like, what's going on? And I realized I hardly drank any water that day. So you have to hydrate, but you have to hydrate properly. And I often joke with people because they're like, oh, I drank half my body weight in ounces and I drank plenty of water. And I would say right now, we've been on this call for 49 minutes. How many of you have consistently taken sips of water? Right? If I'd watched all your screens, I probably would have seen very few. Danny just took a sip. Good, good on him. Problem is we just aren't trained right to consume enough water. And I don't mean copious amounts of water. I'm talking about being hydrated throughout smaller amounts of time in the day as opposed to like all at once. Some people wake up in the morning and they drink 16 ounces of water. That's useless. Some people, you need 4 to 5 ounces, and then in a half an hour, drink 4 to 5 ounces. But the other key is those electrolytes. And we were having some conversations on the side here that like people that are eating a ton of processed carbohydrates, who have low potassium, that's typically go hand in hand, you're going to see a couple things. There's 3 major problems that I see people having that are either not hydrated well or have imbalance in electrolytes, is that they can get headaches. They get real tired for longer than normal, longer than a week. 1 week of tiredness, maybe 2, but outside of that, if you have excessive tiredness, it's usually an electrolyte imbalance. The third issue is some people's blood pressure does spike. And it's because, again, low potassium, high processed carbohydrates, not enough, hydration. So if we can answer those questions and make sure that they're, I've had people say, well, then should I not go on the patch because I don't drink any water? Kind of, maybe not. Like you're gonna probably have some aggressive detox. If you're okay going through the aggressive detox, then by all means, my husband doesn't drink hardly any water. He's really bad. And it took about 4 months of him just being tired for his body to adjust to phototherapy. Now he's got a rhythm down, but I honestly don't think it works as well as it could. I believe it's keeping him alive. There are several doctors. We have 3 different doctors that he goes to. All of them had said they are scratching their heads wondering why he's not dead. And I kid you not, he should be dead right now. And I believe it's the patches that are keeping him alive because he's got all sorts of issues. But hey, only God knows. And we give all that glory to God. And I love that this patch, allows us to work in a way that's not, we're not getting in there and bastardizing what we're taking, right? You take so many supplements and we eat so much garbage. And it's like we think, well, God, you gave us the food. No, we've bastardized the food source. We've bastardized the, I know it's an aggressive word. I sometimes don't mince my words, but we've really done a number on our pharmaceuticals. Like they're all synthetics. Some of you are asking me on the side chat, can I take this thing with this? It helps mitochondria, but it's a synthetic. No, like we want to start, cleaning ourselves up so that our cells, like, remember when COVID happened and everybody had to stay inside, and what happened to all of our lakes and rivers and streams and oceans? They started clearing up, like the sky, like crazy stuff, because we stopped polluting. You got to start with yourself and stop polluting yourself. And then guess what? These patches are going to work better. So some people, it's not, I talk about this as I'll end with this. Some people are medically minded. I would say a lot of people are medically minded. If they're medically minded, where they're like, well, I got to check with my doctor about that. And I got to make sure I look at the studies. And I'm not sure if I want to use this. And hey, how many medications are I on? 5 or 6. Okay, you're clearly medically minded. If they're medically minded, they don't understand that the system is rigged against them. If they're health minded, and that's why I love a lot of doctors, practitioners, people that get in here and see how messed up the kind of system is. There's some definite beautiful things about the medical community. It's just there's so much money involved that it's so messed up that we then end up getting kind of backwards information. So sometimes I just let them go. I say, you know what, I take it away from them. Actually, this product's not for you. And then they're usually like, wait a minute, why? And I say, it doesn't sound like it's a right fit for you. If you really are serious about your health, then come back to me. Sort of like guilt trip them into like wanting to come back. But that's kind of a little side note there. So hope that helps.
It helps immensely. And so thank you very much. I really appreciate you, giving us that input. So Dr. Jen, I want to say thank you so much. Rachel, Maurice, thank you so much. Dr. Joe, thank you so much. Really appreciate y'all diving in tonight and sharing, with all of these viewers, 1,000 people, got to hear you guys tonight talk about why you're so passionate about the X39. So we know it made a difference in some people's lives, and we're very grateful for it. So guys, make sure and get back with that person who got you on here. Ask how you can get started on these patches. God bless you and have a great night.